Alexander Kane was known as the world's most philanthropic billionaire until 12-year-old Marcus discovered that room in the basement of his house. What he saw inside proved that Kane had woven his entire charitable image from lies, and Marcus was no longer young enough to stay silent. Every week, you'd see it splashed across the Chicago Tribune's front page. Alexander Kane changes thousands of children's lives again. Time magazine had crowned him the Robin Hood of modern times. Forbes called his charitable work the conscience of capitalism. At 34, the tech genius had amassed a $300 billion fortune, but his real fame came from how generously he gave it away. Kane Children's Foundation was America's largest child welfare organization, raising $50 million annually. Operating under the slogan, "Every child deserves a safe home," the foundation opened shelters for street children and provided temporary homes for kids from impoverished families, offering education and care. The media had practically canonized Kane. You couldn't escape his charitable stories on television, in newspapers, across social media. Celebrities lined up for photo opportunities. Politicians courted his endorsement. But for 12-year-old Marcus Williams, Alexander Kane was simply an employer. Soon, Marcus would become the one to expose the world's most elaborate lie. Marcus's life had been shaped by tragedy. His mother died in a car accident. His father abandoned him as a child. 3 months ago, he'd escaped social services and begun surviving on Chicago's brutal streets. Nights, he cleaned Kane's Upper East Side mansion for $50, fortune for a homeless child. Kane traveled constantly, worldwide philanthropy conferences, children's rights summits, foundation galas. When he was away, Marcus could work undisturbed. Tonight was no different. Kane was in New York at the UN Children's Rights Summit. Television news broadcast his speech. Children are our future. Protecting them is everyone's responsibility. Marcus switched off the TV, smiling grimly at the irony, and began his work. He started upstairs as usual. Kane's bedroom, guest rooms, library. But tonight, something felt different. While cleaning the library, he heard strange sounds from below. They seemed to come from the basement. Marcus had never ventured to the basement. Kane had explicitly forbidden it. "The basement is my personal space," he'd said, "strictly off limits." But curiosity overwhelmed caution tonight. He found the basement stairs, wooden steps creaking under his weight. Below lay darkness, save for faint light filtering from somewhere deeper inside. The first room appeared normal. Old furniture, storage boxes, typical basement clutter. But the sounds originated further back. Moving down the corridor, Marcus noticed framed photographs lining the walls. Kane at award ceremonies, charity events, posing with children. Philanthropist of the Year 2018. Children's Rights Advocate 2019. Humanitarian of the Year 2020. Then he saw the room. A security card reader guarded the door, but it hung slightly ajar. Blue light seeped through the gap, accompanied by strange sounds, keyboards clicking, printers whirring, phones ringing. Marcus peered inside and froze in horror. This was an office, but unlike any normal workplace, massive screens covered the walls, displaying hundreds of children's photographs, personal data, location information, all updating in real time. Under the header Operation Cleanup, active targets, 847. Endless lists of children scrolled past. Each entry showed status: picked up, processed, relocated, eliminated. Marcus's blood turned to ice. Was this the real headquarters of Kane's charitable foundation? The room stood empty. Marcus approached the computer screens, understanding growing with each horrifying detail. Kane Children's Foundation did rescue children, but transported them somewhere far worse than where it found them. The system advertised as a safe home placement program was actually systematic human trafficking. Computer files revealed devastating details. Target criteria: orphaned, homeless street children. Collection methods: fake social workers, deception tactics. Processing procedures: identity erasure, document forgery distribution network, illegal labor markets across 12 countries. Marcus's trembling hands navigated to a file labeled Operation Cleanser Annual Report. The statistics were staggering. 2020, 3,247 children processed. 2021, 4,891 children processed. 2022, 6,103 children processed. Total processed, 24,856 children. At the bottom, media image perfect. Zero suspicion. Operation continues full capacity. Nausea overwhelmed Marcus. Behind Kane's philanthropic facade lay a network responsible for thousands of missing children. Media, society, government, all completely deceived. A voice behind him shattered the silence. You really shouldn't be here, Marcus. Kane stood in the doorway, but gone was the warm, caring expression from television. Cold, calculating eyes bore into Marcus. Thought you were in New York, Marcus managed, voice trembling. Conference ended early, as will your employment. Kane entered, locking the door behind him. You weren't supposed to see this. You're selling children, Marcus whispered. Kane laughed coldly. Selling? I'm rescuing them, taking them off streets, putting them to productive use, making the worthless valuable. But people think you're a philanthropist, and they always will. Amazing how easily media manipulates, isn't it? Few staged photos, some fabricated stories, voila. I'm the world's greatest humanitarian. Kane stepped closer. This system works perfectly, Marcus. I profit while earning universal admiration. Nobody cares about street children anyway. I give their lives purpose. Purpose? You're enslaving them. I provide employment opportunities. Significant difference. Marcus glanced desperately around. Kane blocked his escape, but the computers remained active. Evidence surrounded them. Nobody will believe you, Kane said, reading Marcus's thoughts. I'm Alexander Kane. You're a homeless child. Whose word carries weight? Marcus thought differently. Maybe they won't believe me, he said, but they'll believe proof. He pulled out his phone, frantically photographing the screens. Kane lunged forward, but Marcus proved quicker, darting toward the computers and plugging his phone into a USB port. What do you think you're doing? Kane shouted. Telling the truth, Marcus replied. Kane grabbed for him, but Marcus yanked his phone free and bolted toward the door. Kane's furious shouts echoed behind him as Marcus raced up the stairs. He burst from the mansion into the frigid night, his phone containing evidence that would topple the world's greatest deception. Dawn found Marcus simultaneously emailing every major news outlet, sending photographs of Kane's secret operation along with detailed explanations. By afternoon, FBI agents surrounded Kane's mansion. Evening news opened with explosive coverage. Shocking truth behind America's most beloved philanthropist. Kane's empire crumbled within 48 hours. Foundation operations ceased immediately. Over 400 children were rescued, and international investigations launched across 3 continents. Marcus instantly became America's youngest hero, but he offered only one statement. I wasn't young enough to stay quiet anymore. Sometimes the biggest lies crumble under the smallest voices. Those like Kane, who believe image trumps reality, forget that truth inevitably surfaces. No brand management strategy can suppress truth forever. Marcus Williams proved that definitively. In the weeks following Kane's arrest, investigators uncovered a conspiracy spanning decades and continents. The fake philanthropy wasn't merely a cover. It was a recruitment tool, an elaborate system designed to identify and collect vulnerable children under the guise of humanitarian aid. The boy who once scavenged for scraps now testified before Congress, his courage that night sparking comprehensive reforms in how charitable organizations operate and are monitored. Kane's frozen assets eventually funded the largest victim compensation program in history, while Marcus's testimony helped rescue children across multiple countries trapped in similar networks. Today, the Marcus Williams Foundation continues the legitimate work Kane's organization pretended to perform. And every night, Marcus remembers that basement moment when he chose courage over silence, truth over safety. Because sometimes all it takes to bring down an empire built on lies is one 12-year-old's refusal to look away. Marcus Williams proved that heroes come in all sizes, and the most powerful weapon against deception is an unwavering commitment to truth. Truth, Marcus learned, doesn't need an army to win. It just needs someone brave enough to speak it.